I hope that you all can hear me. I'm sorry I had to start a new live stream. I'm just going to wait a few seconds to see who all is joining. I think there were a few questions in the previous, the scheduled live stream. Yes, Jai Shri Ram. When will no contact end? Okay. It really depends, on the stage of the journey that you are in, because sometimes you can have contact in the journey and your divine counterpart can block you again or can ghost you again. So what kind of a no contact end are you looking at? Are you looking at just a brief kind of a conversation again, or just to go back into the same pattern, or is your aim permanent harmonious union with your counterpart? So you must always ask that question. And always, a better thing is that you look at the entire journey from the point of view of permanent harmonious twin flame union. That is very important. So, another thing, just to answer your question simply, when will no contact end? It will end when your separation consciousness has ceased to exist. And separation consciousness usually is something that we operate in when we are very much in the 3D consciousness. When we look at separation as in the physical to be separation on all levels. When we think the divine counterpart is separate and the divine counterpart is not contacting, and we look at it all very literally. We look at what they are up to in their physical world. So if we stay in that phase of constantly wondering about the divine counterpart and what they're up to in the 3D, then the separation tends to last longer, because the lesson for you is to move into the higher truth of the connection and shift your consciousness from that separation consciousness into union consciousness. That is very important. And that is not very easy, as I speak of, because in the podcast as well, that is difficult because it's not overnight that your consciousness will shift from separation to union. There is a lot of blockage, there is a lot of conditioning there that has to be let go of. A complete transformation has to happen. A lot of doubts and fears and all of those will come in. But don't worry about it if you are upset. What you can try to do is connect with your counterpart in the 5D. I have also made a podcast video on this. Just try to go and connect with your counterpart in the 5D. Okay, and see how close you will feel to your counterpart in the 5D, and then you will not feel the separation so much. Wait, now what is the next question? I hope that it answered your question, Jai Shri Ram. Prithvika, a warm namaste. Namaste to you as well, Shakti. How to deal with the emotions like jealousy and growing old. Okay. So, Shakti, your name is such a beautiful name, you have the power. So, how to deal with emotions like jealousy and growing old? These are all emotions that jealousy, for instance, is coming from a lack of self love. Where, when you were a child, perhaps that is where you would have felt jealous for the first time, because maybe you were compared to others, or maybe there were certain qualities in others that were appreciated a lot more, and consequently you thought that you don't have those qualities. So whenever one is jealous of the other, they want to have that quality more and more. But you know what, the whole irony of this situation is, Shakti, that you already have that quality. So jealousy is just a place where you're not loving yourself. So when you feel jealous of somebody, one, you want to try to be more like them. So that means that there is a rejection of how you are currently. And secondly, most likely the quality, that you are vying for in the other person, you already have it in you, but the expression of that quality can be in a different way. So go deeper into it, sit with this feeling of jealousy that you have with a specific person, and go within it and try to see where is it coming from, and how do I feel about myself, in that place, and try to reparent yourself in that way. Okay, that will help you come out of that feeling of jealousy. And growing old, again, this is such a societal block, because what the society does is the society tells us that women should not grow old, and older women are not attractive. And you would see there were so many researches coming out about how men are only attracted to women who are under 25. Of all ages, men are attracted to women under 25. So the society reimposes this block in you that because you're growing older, your value and your worth is less. But as a twin flame who is going through a powerful awakening, it is well, well, well within your ambit to overcome this block. Do not think that your value is diminished because you're growing old. Your value, if anything, it's the same or it's improving, because now you're wiser, you have more experience. Of all ages, we go through all ages, and all ages have a significance in our lives, don't they? At one point of time, you were also 20, at one point of time, you were 10 and 30 and 35. It's not that one has directly jumped from 0 to 50. One has gone through all the ages in life. So remember that, and try to again go within and try to see what this part of you is, which is in so much self rejection of her age. All right. Um, Jai Shri Ram. She did not block. Blocking and ghosting is the same thing. Yes, you want permanent union. Good. Hi, thanks for live session, ma'am. Keep having dreams. Permanent union, Jai Shri Ram. This is the way, just shift your consciousness from separation to union. You are never far away. You are not separate from your twin. That is the biggest illusion of this journey. It's just a physical separation. Why that physical separation seems to be so pronounced and so like deep is because there is a deep identification with the body. So this is why it is always urged that you look at the spiritual being that you are. The more you move towards your spiritual consciousness through meditation, through connecting with nature, connecting with God, just sitting with yourself, looking at who you are beyond this body and the mind, the more you will start to also feel into the permanence, of your connection with your twin, and how you're always together. Okay, this may sound difficult to believe in, but connect telepathically with your twin. Try to do some meet your twin flame meditations. Renu, is it normal in the journey to feel happy without the other person and not want communication? So Renu, yes, this is actually a double-edged sword. Just give me a second, I'm going to drink water. So Renu, yes, it is actually very good that you feel happy without the other person, but you don't want communication. Now, think about this, that one thing is that whether or not you have communication, you are living your best life. But this is very different from thinking, from saying that I don't want union and I don't want communication. That means there is a block there. There is a block of receptivity, and sometimes this can come from the wounds that one is carrying because of the divine masculine interactions that one has had in the past. So in the past you had an interaction with your counterpart and it did not go very well, or they were showing a certain pattern. Maybe you felt they are very indifferent, they are very cold, or they repeat this pattern. So you could have wounding there for them. In the end, always remember, your soul wants union and your soul wants communication. So whenever you have any kind of a pain, or any kind of a, let us say, you are experiencing some kind of an anger or resistance towards your twin flame, then that becomes your block. Okay, so you have to look into that. Keep having dreams of the divine counterpart. Ayu Odagiri says, when I decided to really focus on myself, and the dreams are always like I'm looking for him, he's looking for me, or we are waiting for each other. Lately, even dreamt that his siblings dislike me. With dreams, there are two things you should look at to decode dreams. Okay, one thing is, what are you trying to do in the dream? So if you are in this dream trying to look at, um, look for your twin flame. You're searching for your twin flame. What you are trying to do in the dream is important. So you are searching for the twin. So sometimes can it be that your detachment is forced, because detachment with your twin happens because you permanently have a union consciousness shift in you. When you have shifted into union consciousness, you feel the counterpart's energy with you. You know that union will manifest when the time is right. You're going through an ascension process, and okay, your blocks are being purged, so you're okay with it. And that is when the detachment from the 3D person automatically happens. It also happens because your focus is shifted too much to yourself. Okay, but if there is a forced detachment, then this could be indicating that. And secondly, the second thing you should do when decoding a dream is try to look at what you were feeling. So how were you feeling in it? The next day when you note it down, sit with it again, go within and try to see, how was I feeling in this dream? Am I feeling like that really? So go within and connect with that feeling and see what that feeling is trying to tell you. Okay, and try to give that feeling some love, so that you can restore it back to wholeness. His siblings dislike me. This could be your fear. If his siblings like your counterpart, then they are going to like you, because you are the same soul and this is all energy. If both of you are the same energy, so anybody who dislikes you will dislike them, and anybody who likes them will like you. Okay. Prithvika, how to just trust the process? Sometimes it's too hard. I have been chasing my twin flame. I'm not able to let him go completely. He's been cold. It's too hard. Yeah, Prithvika, I completely understand. It's difficult to trust the process, especially, if the consciousness happens to be in the 3D. Then what happens? The mind is very active in the journey. Mind is active in a normal day to day life as well. But in this journey, also specifically, the mind will be very active and will keep, giving you fear after fear after fear, which is not allowing you to trust. The fear will be, no, but this can happen. They can run away with the karmic, and the karmic and them can, come together. Or the fear can be, what if, I'm running out of time? What if this doesn't come to pass? What if I'm delusional? Right? This is all just the language of the mind. So, what you can try to do is disconnect from the mind, sit in meditation. I know this is repetitive advice, but this is very important. The more time you can spend in stillness, in inculcating that experience of stillness, moving towards that stillness which is already present in you, and living, from that experience, the more your fears will be silenced, and you will have distance from the mind. So when this fear comes up, you should just observe it, and you should instead, what you can do is choose a different thought. You can instantly affirm, I'm in union with my counterpart. Okay, or you can just instantly affirm that I trust the process, I let it go. If this doesn't work for you, go deeper into the fear. Maybe it is representing something from past, maybe somewhere in the past you had a particular wound that it is bringing up. All right. And a third thing that you can do is switch, into the 5D with your counterpart. When you connect with the higher self of your counterpart, this may take you a while if you've not done this before, but eventually it will work for you. In a few weeks of maybe trying, it can work for you. Do repeated meditations of connecting with your counterpart at the 5D, and you will have all the assurance that you want about union on this journey. You will not need it from anybody else, and then your mind can become silenced, faster. Girija Shiva, difference between soul merge and inner union. Girija, it's important. Are you experiencing, any of these signs right now? Because your soul is already one. Okay, your soul is already the same soul. So inner union is basically, what you are actually experiencing. You may call it a soul merge also. Maybe some people are using it interchangeably. But your soul is already the same soul, which when it came from the unmanifested to manifestation, as anything moving from singularity to a physical world of duality, has to enter into a dualistic space, so has to split into two. And everything in this universe is just opposite interaction of opposing energies, and the truth of existence is in the balance of both energies, right? So when you have this space, when you're one in your dominant energy. If you're in the feminine energy, you're in that dominant energy, and that energy has fully awakened in you. When that energy has fully awakened in you, that will only happen when you have purged the wounds that are keeping you from even having that the awakened version of that energy. Everybody is in a feminine energy, but they're not in an awakened feminine energy till the wounds have been purged, till the time that energy has only come into power when the wounds have, it's like an automatic process. The more you are purging the wounds, the more you're coming into the power, the more you are awakening. When you are in that energy, then automatically, your counterpart will time to get there. It will happen simultaneously. When that starts to happen, then the inner union begins. And that inner union is something, that takes a while also. That is when, it can take a few months, it can even take up to a year or something like that. There's no timeline attached. It really depends on person to person. So essentially, that is the harmonization of both energies, because you are now in your awakened feminine state able to hold space for the masculine energy. Many unawakened feminine energy states, that one experiences in the twin flame journey are not able to hold the space for the masculine energy as well. So it's important first to identify, your dominant energy. You don't actually have to do anything to identify it. Your soul will only sort of guide you towards it. But yeah, I mean, just becoming comfortable with it. Anika, hello, ma'am. Hi, Anika. Bagisha, he still misses his ex. What is it mirroring? Okay. Ask yourself how you feel about it. It's all in your feelings, Everything is basically the answer is in how you're feeling at all moments. How does that make you feel? Does that make you feel sad? Does that make you feel less about yourself? That your counterpart is telling you that they're missing their ex? Does that make you feel inadequate in any way? Does that make you feel jealous? And start to work with your feeling here. This is what it is mirroring to you. Just look at how you feel about when your counterpart said this to you. All right, that is important. So, okay. How to deal with lost interest? Sorry, Anika is saying how to deal with panic attack. Anika, if you're having a panic attack, I would definitely ask you to see a healthcare professional first. That is very important because they will have very clear, advisory on handling a panic attack. A panic attack can be symptomatic of so many things. There is obviously a lot of pressure, you're putting on yourself. So it's important you see a proper healthcare provider, a psychologist, a therapist. You go to a doctor and try to seek advice with regards to panic attacks. They will give you a complete detail of what you should do immediately when you are in a panic attack and the various situations in which you have a panic attack. So seek a medical, healthcare professional advice here, okay? But otherwise, I will just say don't put too much pressure on yourself. Relax. It's just life. Nothing, that we are expected to do is of such a grave nature. It's not like it's not the end of the world, as they say, right? Nothing is the end of the world. Okay. So seek professional help here, please. Divine, how to deal with lost interest in job while being on the journey. Is there any part of your job that you are resisting? Is there a situation in your job that you do not like? 1 minute. Am I still audible to? Can one of you reply and tell me that I'm audible? Because I think there was an interruption. Now it's breaking. Oh, I'm audible. Great. Okay. Okay, going back. New very few people on it. So Divine says how to deal with lost interest. Don't you take it positively? If you're not interested in something, why should you waste your time doing something? Think life is just a finite, it's a game of time and energy, as Sadhguru also says this, So think about it. Time is life, basically. That Monday to Friday is your life, right? So if you're losing interest in your job, what else are you interested in? Can you start doing that? And if there is a financial compulsion, to continue to be in your job, that is perfectly understandable. Just try to take out some time in trying to do what you like doing. okay, and see what you can do. So if you don't like your job, then you can always try to switch to something that you like doing. But if you're on this journey, it does not mean that you ignore other areas of your life. If you otherwise like your job and otherwise you're not interested in this job because of obsessive energy and stuff like that, then I would advise that you spend more time meditating, connect with your counterpart telepathically, so that you know that you're always together, there's nothing to worry about. But if your higher self is giving you an indication that it is time that you move into something that will drive your passion, where you feel like you're contributing something which makes you happy, which is aligning with your natural skill set, and it's activating your divine gifts, then you take that as a cue. All right, all the best. Carlos Perez, hello, thanks for these spaces. I dreamed with my twin flame yesterday. This doesn't happen often. She stared at me with guilt and asked, what did she do this time? What does this mean? This can just be your counterpart visiting you in dreams, and trying to tell you that they are as confused as sometimes the feminine is, about their behavior, about why they run. They don't understand why they are being so triggered. Their wounding is also coming up. But always understand that I'm going to upload a podcast on this as well, that I've already recorded, that this is your awakening journey. So your counterpart is basically facilitating your awakening. All right. So this is about you awakening, because it is the awakening of the feminine that is happening in this age. All right. So it is about you. So yes, your counterpart, of course, in the human form is also getting confused and may also be experiencing guilt about suddenly not talking to you, or about betraying your trust or anything like that. Okay. So you can just telepathically, you can just send them love and just let this go. All right, they will have their own awakening which is independent of yours, so you just have to bring the focus back to you. Everything is taken care of. Vijay Lakshmi, hello, how to overcome the guilt shame of cheating soulmate spouse? Just try to see, sit with your feelings again, is what I would say. How do you feel about your soulmate spouse? What is it that is coming up for you right now? When you just sit, ask yourself this question, just close your eyes, sit and ask yourself this question: how do I feel about my spouse? Okay, and see the feelings that come up. And if nothing comes up for you, because sometimes it may not be easy to do that, just write about it in a diary, that how do I feel about my soulmate spouse, and just try to see what is coming up. Try to unearth the deeper relationship that you have with them. Okay, that is very important to do, to unearth any kind of bond, any kind of a trauma bond that may have led you into this relationship. Because if you have met your twin, then there is a higher purpose for this. If you're really on the twin flame journey, then the soul does want to unite with their counterpart. So this is clearly something that you have to work out first. Work with your feelings and understand what you feel for your soulmate right now, for your husband right now, your spouse right now. And if you are still feeling a lot of guilt, I would say then don't cheat in this way. If you're cheating in the sense that if you're physically cheating or something like that, don't try to do anything to hurt anyone on this journey, because when your union will happen, even if you're married or something like that, that always happens for the highest good of all. So in between, don't try to hurt anybody deliberately. The bonds that get severed of existing relationships, etc., they happen in their own time, when both parties are ready. So you can try to be more conscious of how you're feeling at every step. And if it's making you feel terrible about yourself, then obviously don't do that. Even if it's with your twin flame, you will have your moment of union. All right, so you can try to maintain that integrity and honesty. Just make your inner feelings the guide. They will tell you what the right thing is. If your inner feeling is telling you to be with your twin physically is making you feel guilty, then don't do that. Be in touch with your inner self. If your inner self says it's all right, I feel good and great about it, then you go ahead and do that. So it really depends on your individual journey. Inner feelings are your guide, and if you're still very confused, connect with the universe. Just ask your guides to help you out of this situation, and make a clear choice as well. It's very important to do that. I don't know how your situation is and how you're placed, and it may be more complex, but this is just the best that I can think of right now. Okay. Divine. Also, I know that I'm not in the mind, but I don't feel it practically. I'm very connected to emotions that it manipulates my decisions. How to differentiate ourselves from mind and emotions? Divine, mind and emotions are basically equally, the same thing actually. Spiritually speaking, you're not your emotions and you're not your mind. The thing is that emotions are a better guide to our mind. So, for instance, when we have certain thoughts coming to us, like we have belief systems, rather than attacking the belief system directly, and many people will not agree with this, but practically this has been my experience, that rather than going directly to the belief system or to the thought process, look at the underlying emotion which has led to that thought process. Okay, because most people can connect directly with the emotion, and when you go into the emotion and you resolve the emotion and you get in touch with the emotion, right, and you reparent that emotion, if it wants something or something like that, the thought will also go away for sure. But you're saying you're not in the mind, but I don't feel it practically. I'm very connected to. Just try to go into your inner stillness, meditate. When you're meditating, you're in that space. You can hit that space of Satchitananda, which is that space where you're constantly connected to your inner bliss. When you are connected to your inner bliss, your emotions will not matter. You can observe your emotions. You can observe the thought. You can observe the mind as well as, the emotion. Okay, so go into the observer state, which happens through meditation. A simple tip will be just sit down, palms facing upwards, and sit in a comfortable, posture. You can try to do this early in the morning as well. That is when you can be very alert. Do this after taking a shower, a cold shower, so you're very alert, and just focus on the natural rhythm of breath, and bring your focus back to breath rather than focusing on the thoughts that come. Look at the thoughts as just something that is happening externally. You are just the observer of the thought who has to constantly come back to the breath. Okay. Infinity. Hi Asta, is it possible that some twin flames have their sole purpose in another dimension? Thanks. Infinity, yes, absolutely it is possible, because we ourselves are multidimensional beings. We can have purposes in other dimensions as well. But if you are here on earth, um, then have you considered, that are you 100% certain of your purpose being in another dimension? Purpose is not something that we decide and then we do. Purpose is something that we pretty much stumble upon, that we just start doing, and then it just expands and it somehow becomes bigger than you. You start gaining traction in that area yourself. So don't plan the purpose, don't think of the purpose, don't decide what it is, whether it's in this dimension or other dimensions. Yes, maybe your purpose can be to bridge the interdimensional gap for those who are awakened, so, or those who are open to that. It can be anything. I mean, obviously you are the best judge of it, but don't put too much pressure on the purpose as a term. Okay, whatever you feel guided to do. If you feel like working in another dimension and you have a foot in the door there, or you're just able to do something there, able to help or express yourself in that way, or connect to beings in other dimensions, whatever it is, then do that and see where it takes you. Okay, just experiment and go with it, and it will find you. Okay. Anika, when feel why it happened with me. If we didn't meet, then it would be better, because I have feelings for him, at the same time I don't want him. Anika, it's just rousing some fears in you. Your twin is someone that you always want to unite with, that your soul wants to unite with, but your ego is can be very good at creating resistance and can make you feel like, I don't want it, it's not good for me, this person's no good. That's just the ego talking, all right? And this dissonance can definitely, be causing a lot of fear and um, discomfort in you. Sukriti, how to heal from sexual abuse? Sukriti, this is such an important topic. One thing, I will tell you is that almost all women of the world have gone through some form of sexual abuse. It just varies in degree and it varies in extent. But always remember that almost all women have gone through it, okay, in some form or the other. So remember that nobody is alone when it comes to sexual abuse. Secondly, remember that no trauma is bigger than you. You, as a being, as a soul, you are unsullied. So, when the body gets attacked, or the body, the body gets abused, the mind gets abused, and the mind attaches a lot of shame and a lot of guilt also sometimes in women, because guilt about, oh, this happened to me, and why was I not able to stop it, why was I not able to do this, why was I not able to do that, why was I not able to avoid it, and all of that. And shame because of the societal shame around it, as to, oh, sexual abuse, society makes it look like such a big thing, a horrific thing, and all of that. So remember that that is the mind which is creating a big scenario about the abuse. Secondly, it's the body which got abused, but you as a soul, you are unabused. Nobody can abuse a soul, nobody can abuse your being. All right? It's very, very important to do that. Now, how to let go of it? There are many, many ways to do it. I would suggest that you seek some, first of all, you look at the trauma aspect of sexual abuse, because it is important that you release this. Okay, so you look at the trauma aspect of it, that if it is still causing certain, your sympathetic nervous system could be on in an overdrive because of this, so certain breath work can help you release it. There is something called rebirthing breath work that you can look at some workshops. Do it under trained guidance. Rebirthing breath work, I'm repeating it. Okay, you can email me as well if you want to, and um, I can tell you more about how that works. So that helps you to release trauma out of it. Secondly, you can work with a trained therapist to specifically find ways to release this from your mind, and from your thought process. All right, and especially from your emotions. With rebirthing breathwork, emotionally also it does get purged out. It is a slow process of releasing it for sure. And when you are working with your sacral chakra, your root chakra, your solar plexus, then also these wounds get released for sure. All right, and connect with the divine, connect with the divine feminine, connect with the devi, a goddess, and just ask her to heal you. You can do some visualization meditations to heal that sexual abuse trauma. All right, thank you for asking me that question, Sukriti. You can email me as well. Meetu K. How to do shadow work and how to control your mind. Like, I'm trying to control my phone addiction, and it's also affecting my weight loss journey. I can't control my craving to eat something. Meetu, we eat and we overeat. You know why we overeat? We overeat because we have some emotions which are unprocessed. So we basically, instead of processing our emotions which are difficult, we go into eating and feeling better about ourselves temporarily. Okay, this is the psychological research behind overeating, and especially this eating, where which we do because we are avoiding our feelings. How to do shadow work? If you're just going to start shadow work, I would just urge you, a simple process is, look at online, go Google shadow work prompts. So you will come across some articles. Start there. Okay, they will have maybe 5 or 6 questions that you can start with. Start writing the answers to those questions. This is the first way in which you can start shadow work. All right. And how to control your mind. Mitu, you can't control the mind. The mind in Sanskrit is called a monkey, it's called a markata, which means it's a monkey mind. And this is the wisdom of Sadhguru, it's not mine. But I'm just sharing that the mind can't be controlled. The mind just, you have to have a distance from the mind. So if my mind is overactive, and because of the certain periods of time that we are going through in our life, if we are ungrounded and we are imbalanced, but everybody goes through a certain imbalance at some point of time in their lives. Immediately, what I would do is I would bring it back to the present moment. If I'm not able to bring it back to the present moment, I think the mind is very active and it's all consuming. Then I would urge that, if it's too consuming for you, go take a cold shower right away. That will cleanse any energy blocks that you may have. Okay, because we accumulate all sorts of energies in our aura. When that happens, what tends to happen is, it accentuates the thought activity of the mind. You may not even be thinking your thoughts, you may just be picking up on the overthinking energy of the collective. So take a cold shower. You can just light a lamp in your room, in your space where you pray to god or something, an oil lamp, just sit with it. That will also cleanse your aura. And you can play a chant, any chant that calls you. Just play it on your phone and just listen to it. It can be Om Namah Shivaya 108 times. Just listen. Okay, it can be something very simple. It can be some other mantra, Gayatri mantra, whatever mantra, just listen and be with it for some time. That will also calm your mind. That is why there was an ancient wisdom behind these, behind the mantras. The mantras are very powerful sounds. Through the magic of the sound, the frequency of the sound, it causes a lot of healing to happen, and it causes the mind to become still. So this is what you do when you're in an overthinking drive, okay? And otherwise, just learn to meditate. Renu, I noticed I feel a warmth in my heart chakra if I ever think of my DM. That's a good thing. That means that, because you have a connection with your counterpart in your anhata space, in your heart space always. That is where the masculine and the feminine energies meet. Okay? So half of your heart space is a feminine energy and half is a masculine energy. So that is where you are meeting. So this is a good thing. This is a thing where you are feeling that union of the energies. Don't worry about it. Me too, I've already answered. Renu, I'm not desperate for communication. If it happens, it's good, but I'm not keen. I think I'm going very slow with answering your questions. How to accept yourself fully, whether you are overweight or dark skinned. Mitu, it's all about self love. Just why are you rejecting yourself? There is some belief there, which you garnered from your childhood or elsewhere, where you just felt that the way you are is not good enough. A subliminal messaging that went into the mind. So, like I always say, instead of going into the thought, go into the emotion behind it and try to reparent yourself in the emotion. So, my twin flame wants me to move on. Yeah, so your counterpart, can always say these things happy. You don't have to worry about it. You can um, just listen and let it go, because this is not a journey that has anything to do with their ego or your ego. This has to do with your soul, and your soul having chosen to awaken and come on the twin flame path. So it will happen. It will take its course, and you will unite. All right. So don't worry about it. Just let it go. Utsav Patel. Is it possible that masculine becomes feminine and vice versa? Yes, Utsav, sometimes polarity switch can happen. Very cool way of saying that. Later on, that polarity switch can happen. And that basically means that now you still have wounding. This is why you're running away from the connection. All right. And also, till you have your soul has expressed itself in its dominant energy, sometimes you can experience different polarities. Like a female, for instance, can be in, otherwise all her life she could have been very masculine, but with the journey she becomes the feminine. So then sometimes she can again go into her masculine self. So this takes a while to settle in. Don't worry about it. Is it possible to see these numbers and mirror numbers before knowing or meeting twin flame? Yes, it's possible that these numbers could have happened to you, could be in your vicinity before you met. But largely it will be the 1111 number that you will see before you have met your twin. But if this has happened, then it could be a very strong indication for you that you're going to meet your twin. BTS official, ma'am, what is the meaning of seeing DM's karmic partner's name? BTS, a very good question. What does it evoke in you? Okay. If, for instance, you see the karmic partner's name is, let us say, XYZ. Okay, you see XYZ everywhere. How do you feel about it? You're avoiding something. Always the lesson of the karmic connection is something within you that it is evoking. Okay. So always just go within and see what is it that it's trying to tell you about you. So when you're just seeing the name XYZ, go into your heart and ask yourself, how do you feel about this name XYZ? And see what comes up. It'll be a reflection of the inadequacy you feel in a certain area. Okay, your twin is trying to teach you a lesson by being with somebody whom you may think is, better than you or is superior to you in some way. Subconsciously, you may think like that. Okay, and that is just reflecting to you that it is time now to bring that part of you back to you, which feels inadequate, which feels less. So it's nothing to worry about. It doesn't mean anything negative, it just means go within. No sign of this journey is ever a negative sign, by the way. MAM, we have other partners. What is the best for us? MAM, it's very hard to, say to you what is the best for you. Ask yourself what you want to do in this journey. Do you want to make the choice of union? It's all about your choice. And always know your soul wants union. So when you have made that choice, then automatically ways will start to open up for you. All right. And see how your current partner makes you feel. It's not about your counterpart's partner or your counterpart's choice. It is about your choice and your partner, your relationship. You are the decision maker on this journey. Your counterpart will merely just reflect the choices that you're making. All right. So it depends on you. Prithvika, thanks very much. I have a bit of clarity about where I'm lacking now. I'm more than grateful for everything. You're welcome, Prithvika. Vagisha Khandale, thank you, ma'am. Vagisha, God bless you. Love you lots. Thank you so much. God bless you too. 1111 empath, the pain of seeing twin flame with third party is excruciating at times. I wonder if he has chosen to be with her and he's putting efforts for her. Maybe I'm wrong to want him. 1111 empath, never ever focus on what is going on in your twin flame's life. That is an illusion. Karmic partner is an illusion of your twin flame journey. All right? That is just a symbolism of the wounding that you're carrying, that your counterpart is carrying, that the lessons that they have to learn and the lessons that you have to learn in self love. All right, their choice is always you. When they put in efforts, there is some confusion there. There is you could be in a heavy chasing energy that can be driving them away, and when you are thinking about them all the time, then they are thinking about someone else. That's also mirroring. Bring the focus back to you and just surrender and trust. Have faith in your union, have faith in your journey. If the situation, when you look at your counterpart's life and it seems very triggering to you, just take a break from it, step away from it, and instead look at your own life. Not okay. This is about the voice. Skelisco, we can hear you. Yes, ma'am. Somebody. Okay, I'm very, very far behind. I know. Renu Sandhu. I'm also wondering what the sole mission of the twin flames is. Is it to unite or is there a higher purpose? Renu, just in your union and just going through this ascension process, that itself is a soul mission. When you yourself are awakening and you are letting go of old 3D programming, which is keeping you in lack and it's keeping you in lower vibrational energies, understand that old 3D programming, when one person is letting go of it, when one person is coming into being their authentic self, what an inspiration you are serving to other people. Sometimes twin flames are clearing, the various wounding that they have in the DNA of their ancestors. Sometimes they're working through the karma which is not even their own. Right? So that itself, your ascension itself is a beautiful, for everyone around you. All right. And your divine gifts get activated. It's very automatic on this journey. When that happens, then what it leads to is that leads to a collective uplifting for everyone. So you don't have to think about a soul mission. And is the mission to unite or is there a higher purpose? Just unite with your twin, and that itself is a very high order thing. All right, just set your intention, make a choice, and work on releasing your blocks, and just surrender the entire process, because this is divinely guided, nothing to do with your ego. Simply guide how to banish fear in this journey. Fear related to this journey in other areas also. Latika, wonderful question about fear. Fear is basically a creation of the mind, and it's also sometimes happening because of the past blockages that we have in our chakra systems. Okay, and in just like our auric field. Basically, just you can just say, simply speaking, it's a creation of the mind. Try to distance yourself from the mind. The more you meditate, the more you have the inner stillness, the more you have the separation from the mind, the more you can watch the fear come up. And then you can choose to not believe the fear. The problem is when we think we are the mind and anything the mind is saying and doing, we are that. Okay? That is when the fear seems to be very real. Distancing yourself from it is very important. Now, so many people, listen to enlightened beings, what they have to say about fear. This is what has worked for me. But there can be other ways to look at fear. Osho will say, face your fears, face the fear. One way you can do is have a back and forth with your fear, like cognitive behavioral therapy. It makes you question all your assumptions and go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into this. You will see the nonsense that the fear is coming from. It's coming from nowhere. Okay, it's just a construct of the ego. So fear basically attacks you more when you're in the 3D consciousness. The more you move into yourself, turn inward, the more you will have a higher dimensional consciousness and the less fear will impact you. Renu Sandhu, I ask because the shadow work and inner work has been very difficult but feels amazing once you make it through. Is the mission going to be similar to this, where you must face more hurdles? No, absolutely not. Mission is not nothing that you're doing. Mission is the expression of who you are. Mission, doesn't take any effort. Especially you're in the feminine journey, it's effortlessness. You're unlocking effortlessness, you're unlocking your blocks to effortlessness. That is where, the work that you do, the soul work that you do, the healing work, the inner work that you do, is focused on releasing the blocks that you have. When you come into your feminine essence, everything is available to you. Mission is not an outer activity. It's not like mission something, that we see in the news, or we see in politics, that this is the mission operation something. It's not an operation. You're not going to be doing any of that. Your natural way of being will become when you are an enlightened being. Do you know how it is that, um, I think this was spoken of Jiddu Krishnamurti. Jiddu Krishnamurti was a very different kind of an enlightened being. There's a whole story as to how he was manifested. Was basically manifested using certain rituals. And he came, but his transmission was very different. He could not transmit like Sadhguru can, energetically, or like Osho could teach practices, or Krishna could, through love, just make people fall in love and liberate them through that, or Jesus could. So this was different for Jiddu Krishnamurti. So not many people just took him, to be somebody whom they listened to as a great intellectual person. As he also tried to, explain everything in an intellectual manner, and that is why not everybody gets him. You have to be really invested in listening to what he's saying and have a certain kind of an intelligence to understand fully what he's trying to say. So with Jiddu Krishnamurti, I think it was Khalil Gibran who once met him, and when he said that the moment I entered and I saw him, I entered into a space of love. That is the mission of a being. By just being who they are in their true glory, in their true self version, they're automatically healing. They don't have to say anything, they don't have to lift a finger. Okay? Kavita Kumar, I'm not doing any tarot card readings. Trupti, I don't feel like talking to him, but I have the fear that what if he goes away from me to some other woman? I really feel insecure when he keeps talking about his exes and other women. What to do? This is just a fear, like I said, it's a fear which is created by the mind. It's not the truth. If this is your twin flame, you're bound to unite. Your mind can take you on detours, and your mind can make you feel like it's not going to happen. But shifting your consciousness will make a lot of difference. Just make the choice that you're going to and shift into a union consciousness. I think made a podcast video also on this about how that shift is very important, and um, how to make that shift as well. All right, I'll speak more of it in the upcoming podcast. But look at again, if you're feeling insecure, like I say, just sit with the feeling. If it is representing a lack of self love to you somewhere inside, then it's good to heal that. Infinity, thank you for the wonderful answer as always. Priya Darshini, my DM stays in my mind all the time. He got married after our meeting. I don't think of him. How can I detach? Help me. Priya Darshini, this is a very complex situation, that you're mentioning right now. Move more and more into self love, okay? And you can book a one on one session with me if you feel guided to do that. And we can explore this in more detail as to how to do this, because this has answers on many levels for you. What is the plan, that you have of union, that your soul has decided about union? So I would just say, Priya, connect, with your spirit guides. Okay, I understand your pain in this situation. Just connect with your spirit guides. Write a letter to your spirit guides. If you don't have telepathic connect with them, write a letter and ask them to help you with this situation. Because see, this is not a journey which should come and torture you or anything like that. That's not the intent of this journey ever. And just ask your spirit guides what the plan is for your journey, for your union. Try to connect with your higher self. There are meditations on YouTube. Just look at meditation to connect with my spirit guides, meditation to connect with my higher self. And if you are thinking a lot about your counterpart, I would urge you that you connect with your counterpart in the 5D as well. So spend the next few weeks doing that and try to find answers from them. And meanwhile, what you can do when you're not doing these meditations in your free time, just go more and more into self love. Look at where you're not loving yourself, what parts of you are you rejecting. That is always useful to do as any kind of a spiritual awakening, any kind of a normal life we are living. It's very useful to accept ourselves deeper and deeper and deeper. Create a meditation routine for yourself, okay? Connect with the divine and deepen your connection with the divine, so you don't then stay too much in the mind and stay too much like this. It's not as hopeless as you may think it is in the physical, because remember, at the end of the day, if you're meant to unite and that is the plan of your soul, then no marriage or anything like that will stop that. Okay. Kavita Kaur, ma'am, I called up my DM and told it's too much, I can't go ahead. And he told it's okay, it's your choice. I didn't want to say this, but my ego self told it, ma'am. Did I trigger him or he triggered me? Yeah, he triggered you for sure, And see, you're trying to control the journey in the physical, not understanding that the physical connection and all of that is just basically an expression of, your internal state. Okay. So it's always important to look at the internal state, and then whatever manifests in the physical will automatically flow from that. So don't try to control it in the physical. Anu Desi, does the divine masculine feel the same level of spirituality as the feminine? Anu, the divine masculine in their own way are very, very spiritual and very aware beings themselves. Okay. And yet at the same time, when you are going to occupy, your perfect feminine and perfect masculine roles, the feminine still is going to act as a conduit to spirituality for the masculine. Yes, that does happen. All right. But in their own way, the counterpart himself or herself, the masculine counterpart, is spiritual. But yes, it's the feminine. The quality of the feminine is the quality of devotion. The feminine quality is the quality of a deeper spiritual connection. So it is through the feminine that, whether it's even if somebody not on the twin flame journey, when they come into their feminine energy, only then they become a devotee, only then they experience spirituality. So, yes, feminine energy in general is a conduit to God. Thank you so much. God bless you always. Thank you. Divine feminine in male body and vice versa. This complicates. Yeah, this does complicate it, seemingly. Just ask, your higher self to tell you what your dominant energy is. And once you arrive at that dominant energy, it may take you a few weeks to arrive there. Your soul will only tell you what that dominant energy is. Okay, guys. So, guys, I'm going to sign off now. Many of you have written many other questions, but I feel like it's late for me right now. So I'm going to sign off, and I would just ask you all that if you have um, more questions, then I can try to come live again maybe next week. Okay. Or you can comment, and you can also email me, or you can book a one-on-one session with me. For that also you have to email. So thank you so much otherwise for coming in and asking your questions. I feel very humbled and honored, and I will see you very soon. Take care. Sending you lots of love. Bye bye.